Hi, Sound Crew. Thank you very much for taking time to watch this video. I'm going to use this video to teach you about a very important concept when it comes to mixing the audio signals in different areas. You know, the video feed, the house mix, all of these things. So I want to teach you about something called Sends-On Fader before Darren shows you in person. This will help his training be more effective and time efficient if you know about these ideas ahead of time. Maybe after I'm finished explaining, you'll have a really good idea of what it's about, but even if you don't, it'll help you in the long run to help him explain it better. I also want to take a little time to remind you of some general information and terminology, just for a short refresher course, okay? And as always, I'm grateful to work with people like you. It's such a blessing to have wonderful people on every area of the technical crew, on the media, sound, and video. It's just a complete pleasure, and I hope it's the same for you. I want this to be a really good experience. I want you all to feel like you're contributing to the best of your ability, that you have the freedom to ask me questions, to share with me struggles of how I can make it easier for you and everything. So thanks for being on the team. All right, let's start with some general things. First of all, everything that makes a sound in the service is mic'd, and of course, appropriate sounds, okay, like the piano, singers, whether it's a choir or individuals, the drums, the orchestra, the choir, okay? So when anyone is making a sound with their voice or with an instrument, they will be mic'd, and you should be monitoring their sound. So when Karen sits down to play a prelude, that should be mic'd. There's a microphone underneath her piano. And that's so people at home listening to CDs can hear Karen play. It's so people listening on video can hear Karen's piano music, okay? One special notice for the organ and the bells. The organ and the bells don't have a microphone attached to them. Instead, we have a house microphone, which is an ambient mic that's in the balcony, and I think I've pointed that out to you before. But in addition to the house mic, you can also use the hanging mics, those mics that hang in front of the choir loft. You can use those to pick up the bells and also maybe pick up the organ. But we can talk about that another time. And one other quick note, Darren has not been using the house mic for the video feed. And we're going to review that at another time as people, the number of people in the sanctuary increase. And Darren and I will talk about that. And I'll use your guys' judgment to see whether we need to use that. The house mic helps to add some life to the overall sound quality. So when Andy tells a joke, you can hear people laughter instead of hearing nothing. You know, it just helps to give some warmth and some dimension to the service by hearing the sounds of people in a given room. Okay, so when you attend the training under Darren before the 8:30 service or before the 10:45 service, Darren will teach you the concepts, or review the concepts of the buses and the Sends-On Fader button. And the reason for this is that we will be videoing from now on the 8:30 service and the 10:45 services, okay? Consequently, everyone in the sound crew has to know how to mix for the video channel, which is broadcast on Facebook, okay? And we really need to do this because as we've been learning to do this, we've had some very compromised mixes being sent to the video channel. And that's nobody's fault other than we're kind of doing this by the seat of our pants and trying to fix things along the way. And thank goodness for Darren and Chris. They said, you know, we'll run sound for a month and we'll figure all this out and then we'll share it with everybody. So we've used this time for a good thing, for our advantage, to make everything better. So thanks, Darren and Chris. All right. Thank you very much. Okay, so the principle is this. What I'm going to do is you can see the Behringer X32 behind me as my background image. For most of this video, what I'm going to do is switch to a picture of just the Behringer 832, and I will point to different parts to remind you things and to show you how to use the Senzon fader. This is not as good as being in person, but this is better than nothing, so you at least have a good idea of what's going on. So I'm going to switch screens right now. You'll be able to see me, but I'll be like in the upper corner. All right. Okay, here we go. There's the Behringer X32. Here's my pointer moving around. And so let's begin. The 32 channels on the left side of the soundboard is where all of the inputs are plugged, and it's right here. This is what I call the left side of the soundboard, and I'm going to call this area over here. This is kind of what I call, oh crap, the right side of the soundboard. All this stuff over here, don't worry about that for this tutorial. So this is the right side of the soundboard, and this little strip in here is kind of like the middle, okay? This is, and this button right here is the big topic of today. This little, this one, that's the Senzon fader, which we'll get to eventually. But right now, we're back over here to remind you that this is where the 32 channels are on 2 layers. This is where all the sound inputs are plugged in. Microphones, instruments, the computer input. And remember, it's a dual layer board. So we have dual layers of 16 channels. So you press this green button right here and you get the first layer, okay? And this is channels 1 through 16, okay? Then you press this button for the second layer, and then this becomes channels 17 through 32. And you all kind of remember what's going on there. We have voices on one layer, we have instruments on another layer, and a bunch of other things. I can't remember right now. Now these 2 other layers, let's not worry about those right now. That can be for another time, okay? So let me see. Okay, now these channels right here, these 32 channels can be sent somewhere, okay? They can be sent as a group to different locations, or also called buses. That's a very special word in sound technology, buses. Just as a school bus can hold a lot of people, a bus on the soundboard can hold a bunch of channels. And then this is the technical terminology, bus, okay? Now, one bus is for the main speakers, which you see on the channel right here. So you could call this the main speaker bus, okay? Or maybe the house bus, where the house comes out, the sound comes out into the house, into the sanctuary, okay? Let me go back to my notes, all right? And so this is your primary job when you adjust the sound levels of each channel. As you know, you come over here and you start, moving these faders up and down as you need to make a singer louder or softer, or to make an instrument louder or softer, and that changes the sound in the house, okay? And so what you're doing is you're moving these faders up and down, and it's causing a certain mix of channels that you hear coming out of the main speakers, or this main bus, okay? So we call this the sanctuary mix or the house mix. But here's the thing. These channels right here, these 32 channels, remember, 2 rows of 16, there are other buses where these 32 channels are sent, okay? We have a CD recording bus where we make a CD, you all know about that. We have a hearing assist bus where a special signal goes out to people with hearing aids so they can actually hear the service better using a device that they clip to their belt. Actually, we got a new hearing assist system that has Bluetooth and stuff. I'll get into that later. But another bus that we use is a video bus, where all of these channels are mixed into a video bus that goes directly to the Sling Studio video producer, and then it goes to Facebook, okay? So I'm hearing you all ask a question. You're probably asking me, Where are the buses on the soundboard, and how do you ask them? Well, I'm glad you asked that question because I'm going to show you. Okay, so the location of the buses are on the right side of the soundboard, which is over here, okay? The right side of the soundboard. So all the inputs are on this side and the buses are over here, okay? Right over here. And just like there's different layers on the right side, there's different layers on the soundboard, there are different layers over here. And the layers that you want to think about with the buses are these two layers, right? These two buttons right here. That, oh, let me look at my notes. The button that you want to be concerned about for accessing these different buses is right here. This one. This will say buses 1 through 8. And that's where all of our buses are for our worship service. You press this button and you'll see these little screens up here change. The first 3 screens on our soundboard are dedicated to 3 monitors. A choir monitor, so the choir can hear Andy's voice and can hear the sounds on the computer and other microphones. The next one is for the kids monitor. When the kids sing, they need to hear the piano. A lot of times the kids will sing up front and they need to hear a piano, and I put a monitor up there. And this third one, I'm pretty sure, is the band monitor. So the first 3 buses are for monitors. But again, on our soundboard, the next couple over here are where we have the CD bus, the hearing assist bus, and the video bus, okay? Let me see. All right, so remember the principle here. The 32 channels are sent separately to each bus. So you can have a special mix for the CDs, you can have a special mix for the hearing assist, and you can have a special mix for the video. Now, here's a big point. The main reason for the separate buses is because each bus will have an ideal mix of instruments and voices. You see, the mix that sounds good for the sanctuary, again, here's the sanctuary, these main speakers right here. So the mix that sounds good for the sanctuary will not necessarily sound good on the CD, on the hearing assist, or the video. And this has been the problem we've had for a while. There have been times when the CD mix and the video mix were distorted and shrill, while the sanctuary mix was very good. You know, I get a CD at home ready to take the sermon off, and it's like too loud. Okay, now this is the problem that Darren and Chris solved together this past 2 months. They were working hard to coordinate all this so all of the mixes sound good. And so the result is now that the different bus mixes, the video mix, the CD mix, the hearing assist mix, and even the sanctuary mix, they all sound consistently good now. So Darren and Chris, thank you very much. Really appreciate your dedication. Okay, so that's why this is so important. So, all right, here, let me continue. So when you locate the bus channel that you want to use, you will push the green. So here we go. So the question is, I've showed you how to access these. You push this button right here, and you'll see the different buses we have. Once you find, I think the video bus is over here somewhere. So when you locate the bus that you want to use, you will push the green button at the top of the channel, okay? Just like this example. You see on this soundboard, they've selected this particular bus right here, all right? They've pushed that and they've selected that bus, okay? Now, so again, this is the steps to access a bus mix, okay? So you selected the bus you want to use, okay? The next step is to push this powerful button right here. This one right here, which is called Sends on Fader. Now you can't read it. It's called Sends on Fader. This is not a high def picture, so you can't actually read the words, but that'll say Sends on Fader. And when you press it, it will blink constantly. It'll blink constantly as a reminder that when you're finished, you need to turn it off. You need to push it again. Okay, so when you push that button, this will allow you to adjust the mix of the bus that you have selected. Now, what's going to happen is you select this channel right here, this bus, you push sends on fader, and you will see all of these faders of these channels change, okay, because it's a different mix, all right? And now you can make adjustments to the mix going into that bus that you've selected. You know, if you wanted to go, if you wanted to go to another channel, let's say you wanted to go this one right here, right? This bus right here, you'd push that button, and then all these channels would represent the mix going into this bus, and the same for each one of these buses. Okay, and again, this will be much clearer when Darren shows you in person. Okay, now once you do this, okay, let's just say for argument, we'll select this one. So once you have selected the bus you want and have pushed sends on fader, you're able to make the mix in the bus you've selected. Now let me give you an example, okay? Here we go. This is kind of fictitious, but actually, it's actually happened. Let's say you've been adjusting the sanctuary mix and everything sounds good. Everything sounds good coming out into the sanctuary. Then you get a text from me or from someone else, and you're like this. You're like, oh my gosh, Andy said that the video mix, Andy Hurst's voice is exploding on the video mix. Okay, what do you need to do? You need to go to the video bus mix, and you need to adjust Andy's voice so it's not so loud. So how do you do that? Well, let's just say right here, this is the video mix, this particular bus. You select the bus, right? Then you go over here. Sorry, then you go over here, you push sends on fader, and then all of this stuff represents the mix going into the video bus. Then you locate Andy. Andy on our soundboard is somewhere over here. And then you pull his voice down, and you have just lowered his voice in the video mix or the video bus. Does that make sense? So that's how to do it. That's you access the bus, then you push sends on fader, and then all the input channels represent the mix going into the bus you have selected. All right. Now, ideally at sound check, you should make sure that all of the mixes sound good. Okay, that the house mix sounds good, or the sanctuary mix, that the video mix sounds good, that the CD mix sounds good, and the hearing assist sounds good. So sound check is very, very important. And 90% of your work is done at sound check. Now, I will say that our services week to week have a high degree of consistency. So it's not like you have to do everything over again and again. You know, most of the mixes are pretty much set, but it's always good to go through the routine, just like a pilot does a check, to make sure the airplane is fit to fly, because you can't change a wing in the air or crash. Same thing. If something happens during a service, you know, everybody's going to know about it. So we want to make sure everything's good. So 90% of your work's done at sound check. All right. Well, that's it. I hope I was able to communicate this basic idea. I know it's kind of abstract. Let me turn this off. Hold on. I know it's kind of abstract, you know, looking at the soundboard from this perspective and not being there to push buttons, but I just thought this is better than nothing. It gives you an idea of what Darren's going to talk about when you train with him before the services. Now remember, if you work sound to the 8:30 service, show up at 8 o'clock, and then Darren will show you what's going on. And I encourage 8:30 people to stay over a little bit for the 9:30 sound check with the band. You'll have chances to ask more questions. And if you are a sound person at the 10:45 service, show up at 9:30 for the 9:30 sound check, and you'll have lots of time for Darren to show you what's going on. And he knows it. He does it really well. And so I think we're ready for everyone to take this to the next level. And I appreciate your time on this. And thank you so much for being part of the sound crew. I enjoy working with all of you. You give generously of your time. You guys have wonderful attitudes, and I honestly enjoy everybody I'm working with at church. It's just a big blessing. And once again, I hope that you find your service to be a blessing to you, because you're doing something that really helps to make these services successful, for Andy's sermons to get out, for all the music we do to get out, and for people to stay focused on why they come to church. Okay, thanks again, and I hope this video was instructive. We'll see you at church sometime. Love you. Bye-bye.